chance to find love with someone that you love to find. For just the sister child to walk ahead, leave me behind. The days aren't easy, the nights are rough. Ask you what you're thinking of. Say love, see for me love. Say love.
Get your cameras ready. You can point them that way. Oh, no, they're not ready. Hold on. You can face that corner over there. I'd like to introduce to you the wedding party of the day. First up, we have Karen Ottenweller and John Henselmeyer. And Adam Tees. Meredith Gibson and Matt Schilling. Matron of Honor, Rachel Nevergall and Dan McKay. Matron of Honor, Emily Hurrow and Nathan Heeman. Best men, Dustin and Jesse Kueker and Andrea Kueker. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Chris and Laura Kueker!
Thank you for good food, good drinks, good musicians, and a wonderful photography session at Busch Stadium earlier today. Pray that you would be with us, keep us safe, and most importantly, thank you for your son. who binds us together in love. And that's one family under his name. We pray together. Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let thy gifts to us be blessed. Amen.
And now for a toast and a welcome from Dale Hinsemeyer, the father of the bride.
Everybody have a break, I hope, because this is going to be about 20 minutes, all right? So just so you know, you're in for a long one here, so couldn't cut it down. Anyway, everybody, welcome to the celebration of Laura and Chris's wedding and reception, and from people near and far, a lot of far, people from Alaska to Florida to Washington State to Georgia to South Carolina to California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Texas, Illinois, Indiana, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri. Have I forgotten anybody? I think that's it. Okay, I think I got it. Okay. Anyway, Laura and Chris have invited you to their best day ever. And I clearly recall the best day ever for Karen and I. It was November 25th, 1981, and that's the day that we picked up Laura from Children's Home Society. And we've had a lot of really best days throughout our life, including the birth of Emily and John, but that was the best day. It made us a family, and that's the most important thing of all. To those of you who knew her, Laura was really a delightful child. She was always happy. I remember somebody in the family said, we ought to nickname her Happy, and I thought that was pretty good. But anyway, she's always had a gift for language, as you know, and at a very young age, she could sing entire songs, repeat TV commercial jingles at 15 months old, embarrassing her mother in the grocery store, singing Sweet Dreams. But anyone who knows her, who's ever played on a team with her, on a trivia night team, knows her amazing knowledge of movie dialogue and song lyrics. Got that, right? It's no surprise that she chose to teach a foreign language as part of her career. But her most valuable career choice has been that of being a big sister. I think that Emily and John will agree on that one. When they were choosing some photographs for me for my 60th birthday party, we noticed in almost all of the pictures of Laura with Emily or John that she always had her hand on one or the other of them, just to kind of keep them safe and looking out for them. And she always had them in mind. A couple of years ago, when Laura told me that she no longer was going to be dating this guy that she had been dating for about a year, I said, I'm sorry to hear about that, and she says, sorry it didn't work out. And so she said, oh no, that's okay. Because there's this guy I know from my Bible study, and we got a date tomorrow night. Okay. And then she said, and he's Lutheran. And I said, sounds good to me. So then she told me he was from Perryville, and then he was oldest of 4 siblings. He was a CPA, worked for Monsanto. He was really smart, and he was a huge Cardinals fan. And I thought, well, these guys have a lot in common, So anyway, Karen and I met Chris on Good Friday, and we gradually learned about his family, how Chris is still close with his parents and grandparents and siblings, and about how his faith is important to him, how his educational success and hard work have led to a solid career. So we enjoyed watching their relationship develop. We spent more time with Chris, and Laura spent more time with Steve and Jane and his brothers and sister and sisters-in-law. And I think that we can all conclude that this has been a pretty good match. Am I right? Now, one of Laura's best qualities is that she's always been able to make really good friends. And from high school, college, work, Bible study, book club, I mean, they're really good friends. And I like them all, too. I mean, they're really nice people. And so I figured, Chris was really fortunate that, he married Laura and always had lots of friends. And then I attended Chris's bachelor weekend, and I got to meet his brothers and his friends, and they're really nice guys too. I thought, man, these guys are going to have friends for life. I mean, it's a good group of people. So anyway, so just a few words to Chris here. Chris, you're a lucky guy. Laura's easy to live with. She likes to cook. She has a strong faith. She has a terrific sense of humor, which has been honed to perfection. And she's a big Cardinals fan too, which also helps. So anyway, now hopefully the union will provide some little ones before too long. And those kids will be set for life because they're going to have grandparents with a family farm, and they're going to get to ride on tractors and do all sorts of really cool stuff that I never got to do growing up in the country, growing up in the city area. And then, on the other hand, they've got an uncle that works for Disney. I mean, how much better can it get for a kid, So anyway, I will conclude this with some wedding advice that I borrowed from my good friend Elliot Horn. I will acknowledge this here. He used this at his daughter Heather's wedding. They are 4 two-word responses to his wife that every husband should know, but it kind of works both ways. So it goes, the words are, you're right, I'm wrong, yes dear, love you.
With thank yous. First of all, I have to thank the Henselmeyers, obviously for this gorgeous evening. We are all happy to be here. Yesterday, someone asked me if I was a friend or a family. Oops, there goes the tears. Asked me if I was a friend or family, and I said both. Henselmeyers have been my St. Louis family, and I thank them so much for that. Also, I want to give a big thank you to the Kueker family. I have gotten to know Chris and Andrea, and it is clear that both of them, their kind-hearted and welcoming personalities, are a reflection of who they come from, and you should be very proud. Finally, I need to say thank you to a young woman who, 33 years ago, made a decision, probably one of the most challenging, to give her little girl the life that she couldn't give her. She gave her to a wonderful family who loves and cares for her, brought her to my life, and gave her the opportunity to meet this wonderful man who's going to take care of her. She would be so proud of you, and she would love you, Chris. Okay, we got that out of the way, so the tears are done. Laura and I bonded quickly as 2 young freshmen in college, bashfully admitting to each other that we were sneaking out of choir rehearsal to attend a sorority recruitment event. A month later, we were suddenly calling each other sisters at midnight, and as the saying goes, we were inseparable ever since. We found ourselves traveling through early adulthood. I suppose we can call ourselves adults now. We found ourselves hitting all the milestones together. First boyfriends, first kisses, first I love yous, first apartment, first grown-up jobs in the big city. We shared it all, and we decided it would only make sense that one day we were going to live next door to each other, and our husbands would share tools, and we would get pregnant together and go walking in the mall and drink smoothies. We had it all figured out. But then I got married, and Laura moved back home to St. Louis, and her life made a shift from mine. She was living the single girl life, and I got pregnant. We were living different lives from what we first imagined, but of course, as friends do, we still shared everything together. Let me just let you know something about Laura if you don't already know. She shares, nothing is kept a secret in Laura's life. I love this about her. No detail of her life is left untouched from hours of analyzation and scrutiny, but that's what friends are for, right? Also, Laura does not believe in voicemail. So instead, she communicates with a Morse code of missed calls. So 1 missed call means she just called to say hi, 2 means she's driving and she's bored, 10 missed calls is a 4-alarm emergency and you need to call back immediately or she will continue to call you. One morning in the March of 2012, I noticed I had one of these emergency calls on my phone. I called back, but I was surprised because I was leaving the next day to spend a week with her. So what could possibly be so urgent that we couldn't wait until we had endless hours to hash and rehash each detail? But I called her, and first she told me, I haven't really told you about this guy, but he's been a friend, and now I think he might be my boyfriend. So I was stunned, but I had not yet had the opportunity to hear this. We had not had multiple 3-hour analyzation sessions, and not to mention then, imagine my surprise when she said, I also think I'm going to marry him. So ordinarily, I think this might have blown me over, especially since it's the first I'd heard of this. Remember, Laura shares everything. But that day, I heard in Laura's voice a confidence that I don't often hear when she calls. She wasn't questioning. She wasn't asking me if it was okay 1,000 times. There was something about her friendship that she had in Chris that had given her that confidence and assurance that she so desperately deserves. I had not met Chris, and I already loved who he was and what he brought out in Laura. And as I've gotten to know Chris, his kind heart, his unwavering support and belief in Laura, his charming personality, his tendency to be a little messy, his remarkable good looks, would you believe I realized Chris is a male version of me? And it is okay to be messy. Now I know why these two are made for each other. Laura had found a best friend to again share all of those firsts. So when the phone calls get a little further in between each other, I'll know that that's because she's getting the support that she needs from Chris. So, hold on. I want to raise a toast to Laura and Chris and to many, many firsts with your best friend. I love you both.
And now we will hear from Matron of Honor, Emily Harrow.
I would like to begin by thanking my parents, Dale and Karen, for hosting this beautiful day to celebrate Chris and Laura. And to Chris's parents, Jane and Steve, for a lovely evening following the rehearsal. And of course, Laura and Chris for giving us a reason to celebrate. Growing up, I always wanted to be just like Laura. I mean, with a big sister like Laura, how could you not? I invited myself to her sleepovers, to her games of hide and go seek, which never ended up very well for me, and to her closet full of the coolest teenager clothes. I danced like Laura, I sang in choir like Laura, I auditioned for musicals like Laura, I went to youth group like Laura, I went on mission trips like Laura. For about 14 years, I watched what she did, knowing one day I would be the epitome of cool, just like Laura. But I was not so cool. I was the annoying little sister. Even then, she never stopped looking out for me and my brother. She was the oldest and knew what was best. Sometime around high school and college, something changed. We began to talk more and bond on family trips. It had gone from Laura always watching over me to laughing and talking for hours. From making sure that I had a good book to read on the stage while Laura and her friends performed an epic skit for the Fair Hills Talent Show, to hanging back from the group and cracking jokes while eating and drinking our way around the world at the wine and food festivals at Epcot. Laura always knows just what to say to make me laugh. While she remains my older sister who thinks she always knows what's best, I can now count her as one of my best friends. When I first met Chris, I knew there was something special about him. It wasn't that he loved flea markets or garage sales, though. As someone who loves a good antique find, I found it pretty great. It wasn't his impressive taste in music. It wasn't his intimidatingly vast knowledge of Cardinals baseball. It was how fondly he spoke of his family, the romantic gestures he made to assure Laura how much he cared, his willingness to step out of his bounds to try something Laura loved, like beer, the way he looked at Laura as though he saw the future in her eyes, the way he lived out his faith. As talks of engagement began to emerge, I thank God for this wonderful person in our lives. I am so very thankful for you to be in our lives and to call you my brother. As you navigate the ups and downs of marriage, know that I will always be there to share those moments with you. You're both so very loved and supported. I wish you many adventures ahead and look forward to what the future holds for the both of you. So cheers to Laura and Chris.
Laura, you okay?
Two down, one to go. Best man, Dustin Kueker. First off, before I begin my speech, I want to welcome Laura to the Kueker family. From the moment our family met Laura, we have been overwhelmed with her sweetness, grace, charm, and that has followed her wherever she goes. Laura's vibrant personality and smile could light up any room as it does tonight. The fact that you're a Cardinals fan, Laura, was, in my opinion, that last bit of peace that won Chris, his friends, and our family over. I know that you will always be all my brother ever needs, and are everything that he has always wanted in a wife, and for that, I'm very grateful as your brother-in-law. It's hard not to be romantic about baseball. One of the most famous lines from a very famous book that Chris has read in a movie that we like called Moneyball. If you looked at Chris's basement, you would quickly realize that the only thing that he is just as romanticized and in love with as Laura is baseball. Specifically, Cardinals baseball. If you do not believe me, just ask Laura's parents or my wife when we were moving quite a bit of Chris's yard sale stuff to higher ground after a little water mishap in the basement when he was out of the country. For the next few minutes, Laura, and for everyone here, I would like to tell her and you guys the man that you married today. The person I played catch with growing up, my best friend, my brother Chris. In baseball, as in life, all important things happen at home. Baseball is a lot like life. It's day-to-day existence full of ups and downs. You made the most of your opportunities. That shows today by you guys uniting in marriage. And for that, I'm very grateful. Being the oldest and growing up with Chris, we've made the most of our opportunities. He was and still is someone that I very much look up to and admire, as you will in your marriage. Andre and I have had the best older brother, and Chris has trailblazed a path that was difficult to follow, but has ended up, for all of us, has been a path that he's trailblazed, and that has led us to much success. Our proverbial manager of the K-Bunch team, along with Mom and Dad, Chris has almost always led Jesse and I out of trouble and not into it. Now notice that I said almost always. You see, when Jesse was 5, and Chris, well, he's about 10 or 11, I'm 7 or 8, we were going through a wrestling phase. Now, I'm not sure that wrestling phase has ever ended, as Matt Schilling and some people can attest to after looking at the video last night. So, Chris and Jesse and I were horseplaying, as was common in the Kueker household. And my favorite wrestling warrior or person was Hulk Hogan. Now, Chris, he was partial to the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage. And there's a picture of those two that will attest to that. Now, what would follow on this infamous day was our mimicking of the ladder. And unfortunately, it didn't end up very well for our younger brother, Jesse. You see, what proceeded was we were trying to mimic Macho Man's Randy Savage's elbow drop, butt drop. And the only thing that we had at our house was the stairs. So using the stairs as our ropes, Chris, Jesse, and I proceeded to climb up the stairs, Mom oblivious to this upstairs. And, it wasn't fun just to do a little butt drop or elbow drop onto a cushion. No, we had to have somebody below the cushion, so the cushion was on top of each other. Well, using our favorite wrestling heroes, you can probably see how this ended up. Mom oblivious to this, we're playing this game and it's going fine. And eventually, Jesse, myself, and Chris end up out of order. See, Jesse would jump on Chris would jump on me. Not a big issue. Well, eventually, Jesse ends up in front of Chris. So Chris jumps on top of Jesse. And what followed was probably one of the worst days of her mom and dad's lives. You see, what happened is Chris ended up breaking our younger brother Jesse's leg. And any way that you try and deviate from that order, obviously, it would have resulted in that. And unfortunately, we didn't have Dr. Dale in the house. So anyways, Jesse ended up screaming, Mom was wailing, and Chris's life savings was depleted after we had to pay the deductible for the hospital bill. Yeah, even then, Chris was, very responsible and very accountable. Now, that was the first, but not the last instance in which Chris and I had a horrific experience. The other one I can only title as Chris's first driving lesson. And so, Chris's first driving lesson, Jesse and I are in front of the garage. Dad had just mowed the yard because Chris isn't the mechanical-oriented type. And Dad thought it was a bright idea to say, hey, Chris, why don't you, he was about 13 years old, why don't you pull the truck up about, it really was all of about 15 feet, from about that table to this table. Not very far. Simple task, right? Not with Chris. No. So Chris reluctantly is like, you sure, Dad? And Dad's like, son, you're going to have to learn sometime how to drive. This is the best opportunity. So Dad hands the keys over to Chris. Chris hops into the truck, turns the ignition, everything's going fine, right? Not for long. Chris decides, instead of just gradually to pull up, to take his foot and press it all the way down to the floorboard. Truck goes flying into the front yard. Chris, fearful for his life, looks at Dad horrifically as it cuts halfway into our yard. Dad starts running after the truck. Jesse and I are just looking, thinking either our brother's gonna die or our dad's gonna die or both. Dad eventually catches up, grabs hold of the truck door and the back end of the cab and says, brake! Brake, son! Turn the wheel! Well, after a couple times of yelling that, holding onto the truck, he finally brakes, turns the wheel. The truck does about a 180 or 360 in the front yard. Truck comes to a very slow halt. And this is where Jesse and I get nervous, and probably Chris. Dad pulls himself up in the truck bed, opens the door, grabs the keys out of the ignition and says, that's it, son. Driving lessons over. Anyways, what these two stories tell me about Chris, and it's true, and I know Laura knows this already, is Chris, to me and to my younger brother Jesse and my younger sister Andrea and to us as a family has always been that proverbial manager, that leader of our family, and has always trailblazed a path that was just a wonderful, successful story that now Laura can partake in. And even in the down parts of our life, like a brother breaking a leg or a truck flying across the front yard with their dad hanging on the side, Chris was always teaching us a lesson. He was never afraid to step forward and be a leader. He was always responsible. He was always accountable. He always owned up to his mistakes and taught us to learn from them. That, Laura, is the type of guy that you married today. Baseball like life. You get the theme? Baseball? Okay. We're at Busch Stadium today. Baseball like life is game played between the lines, Laura. There are going to be times when Chris is going to be a royal pain in the butt. For instance, when the Cardinals lose. When he has not ate in a while. When he does not get to go to the garage sale or flea market that he wanted to. In fact, we had to stop by one during his bachelor party and almost had to stop by an estate sale on the way to church today. We didn't, okay? When he gets flicked in the nose when he's really tired and wants to sleep and not continue to play cards. You probably won't have to worry about that one. And when his fantasy baseball teams are not playing well or they're getting beat by his younger brother Dustin. Yeah. When he behaves in this way, help him find the silver lining in all these small matters and realize that all these things could be a lot worse if he did not have you by his side. As we transition to today, where my catching partner growing up becomes yours for the rest of your life, I leave you with a bit of advice. They say that some catchers make their pitchers better by being on the same page and knowing the best way to approach the batter at the plate. I know that you make my brother better by being his new catcher today. Even when he waves you off and you're not on the same page, as you and he will struggle to find the zone and deal with the difficulties that life throws your way, do not be afraid to walk out there, talk to them, and help them refocus on what's important. You. In closing, love is the most important thing in the world, but baseball is pretty good too. Those are the famous words, Laura, from the great Yogi Bear. Just remember, Laura, on August 22nd, 1982, against the San Francisco Giants with 2 outs in the bottom of the 12th inning, Glenn Brummer stole home, one of 4 career stolen bases. But on July 12th, 2014, you stole my brother's heart. If everybody could raise their glass, I'd like to propose a toast to Laura and Chris that you may continue to this day and forever to steal each other's hearts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this time is now time for the traditional dance.
It's been a long day. Things ain't been going my way, and though I need you. You see right through me and make it easier. Leave me in the real have to try. Oh, because you are the best thing. You are the best thing. You are the best thing.
Now it's time for the bride and father of the bride dance. And the bride and groom would like to ask that after about a minute or two while the song's playing, they'd like to invite all of the fathers and daughters to the dance floor to join them. Sarah, a very good friend of yours heard you were getting married today, so we wanted to drop by and say hello and tell you congratulations. I think he's right around here, right over there somewhere. There he is! Fredberg, y'all! Looking good, man. Oh, check it out, Fredberg, y'all. I love it. Good day today, good day. Big win for the Cardinals, dog. Boys and girls, some of you may have seen us. Laura may have dragged you to a couple of shows against your will over the years, and we're sorry about that. No, we're not sorry about that. But she was so kind to let us be a part of this historic day, so now we make parts of it. Who wants to dance with Fredberg?
said, you want, that's the way you need, any way you want it. She said, oh yeah, Saturday night, y'all, come on. Fredbird's in the house. Been working so hard, I'm punching my car. Beat up for what? Oh, tell me what I got. I got this feeling, time's been holding me down. I'll keep proceeding, or else I'll tear up this town. Now I gotta cut loose, put loose, kick off the Sunday shoes. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, shake it for me. Oh, my Lord, come on, let's go. Blues, no blues, everybody cut, put loose. You're playing so cool, obeying every rule. Dig away down in your heart, you're burning, yearning for somebody to tell you. Nothing has kick off the Sunday shoes. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, shake it for me. Oh, my Lord, come on, let's go. Blues, no blues, everybody cut foot loose. Cut foot loose. Cut foot loose. Cut foot loose. You got to turn around, get your feet on the ground. Now take a hold of your soul. I'm turning it loose. Kick off the Sunday shoes. Pull me off of my head. Jack, get back. Come on, before we crack. Loose, your blues. Everybody cut foot loose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee. Shake it for me. Oh, my Lord. Come on, let's go. Loose, your blues. Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut, everybody.